Hello, and welcome to the Mineral Essentials Masterclass. I'm so glad you're here, and I wanted to offer this masterclass to you so you can learn more about minerals, what they're all about, why you should care about them, if you're at risk for mineral imbalance, and some of the first steps as far as what you can do now, even before you get your test results. So we're going to dive right in. Let me just share my screen. I have a little presentation to share with you. So welcome again. Let's dive right into this. So why minerals? Why should you care about minerals? Why are minerals so magical? I mean, I think they're magical. But anyways, they are essentially the spark plugs of the body. So they are so important as far as how our cells actually work, as far as the electrical energy inside your cells. And they kick off essential reactions in the body, and they're needed for millions of enzymes themselves in the body. And something important to note, so if you're somebody who is struggling with hormonal imbalance, you're in perimenopause, menopause, your hormones are making you crazy, a lot of times we can backtrack any sort of hormonal imbalance to the minerals, because the minerals run the enzymes that run the hormones. So a lot of times focusing on rebalancing your minerals, good nutrition, you're going to feel a whole lot better on the hormone front. Another reason you should pay attention to minerals is stress. I mean, Lord knows we are all stressed. I feel like a lot of the women who come to Carrots and Cake, we are very type A, little perfectionist tendencies. You have to-do lists that are a mile long. You're moms, you're working full time, you're taking care of the family, even your aging parents. You have a lot of responsibilities, but you are under stress. And a lot of times it's chronic stress. And stress depletes minerals. And you might feel exhausted. And there's a reason for that. Yes, you have a lot going on in your life, but anytime you are stressed, you are going to lose minerals. So the perfect example of physical stress is if you are somebody who has ever run a half marathon, a marathon, a triathlon, and you sweat a lot. I remember doing this back in my marathon training days. My skin would literally get salty, and that is your body losing minerals, electrolytes, essentially. So when you are stressed out, your body is losing minerals, and it's going to leave you depleted and burned out. And then minerals, they are foundational, they are protective, they are involved in so many different systems in the body, and they are needed for those systems to work properly, from your digestion to muscle contraction to your thyroid to your blood sugar balance to your adrenals. It's all connected, and all these systems need good nutrition when it comes to minerals and working properly. Minerals are even involved in our emotional health, which I know it sounds crazy that minerals are related to how you might feel. But you know what? Lack of minerals related to anxiety, worrying, autism, ADHD. There's some really great studies out there as far as how nutrient deficiencies and mineral deficiencies might lead to mental health issues. So if you're somebody who is really struggling, this could help. And then, as I always say, minerals are actionable as blank as AF. I won't swear on this masterclass, but I always feel like they're a low-hanging fruit in the sense that you have to eat, you have to go to the grocery store. So why not feed your body what it needs when it comes to minerals? So why not buy the foods that are high in potassium, buy the foods that are high in magnesium, salt your food. I just feel like it's an easy fix, and you have to eat anyway. So why not focus on the minerals? So minerals, they impact everything. Like I was saying, they're involved in how you respond to stress. I don't know if it's perimenopause or menopause, but I feel like a lot of us, because we don't have all those wonderful hormones anymore, we're overwhelmed. We feel more of that stress. We don't react to stress the same way we did in our 20s. So minerals can help as far as calming your system, helping you as far as feeling better. Blood sugar control, insulin resistance, thyroid. Minerals are really important as far as the thyroid goes. PMS, periods, muscle movement and contraction, recovery after your workout, cholesterol, if you're somebody that deals with high cholesterol, your sleep, your blood pressure, and then energy. Anytime somebody says they're tired, I'm like, we got to look at your minerals. So signs and symptoms of mineral imbalance. These are just some. I would say, fatigue is at the top. Like I said, if somebody comes to us and they say they're tired, I'm like, we got to look at what's going on in your minerals. I think second to that would be how much are you eating? But those things kind of go hand in hand. So if you're under eating, there's a good chance that your body is undernourished. But any sort of muscle cramps or twitches, that's a good sign that your body probably needs some more minerals and electrolytes. Headaches, poor heat intolerance, irregular heartbeat. I had that one for many, many years back when I was running a ton and losing a ton of electrolytes. And I didn't know anything about good nutrition or electrolytes back then. But every time I would go to my doctor, they'd be like, you have an irregular heartbeat. And I would do all the tests and everything, and nothing would ever come to it. But just interesting that that doesn't come up anymore. Water retention, puffiness. If you're somebody like your rings are always like really tight, or you have swelling around your ankles, that could be an indicator that we need to look at your minerals, work on some electrolyte balance. Digestive symptoms could either be diarrhea or more constipation for sure. Brain fog, sluggish thyroid, anything related to thyroid, minerals for sure. Blood sugar issues, poor stress resilience, like I was talking about. I feel like just being in your 40s, things are different. Frequent urination or waking to urinate at night, excessive thirst, drinking tons of water. I hear this all the time from ladies that they're drinking 100 ounces of water, but they're exhausted and they're peeing all day and they're always thirsty. Again, you might need some electrolytes in that water. It's not about drinking more water. It's about fueling your body properly. Hormone issues go hand in hand. Like I was saying, the minerals run the enzyme that run the hormones, and then any sort of weight loss resistance or just, having trouble losing weight. Because again, the cells need the proper energy to lose weight. So why is mineral loss so common? I've talked around these a little bit, but real quick, we are stressed. Like stress is one of those things where you're going to lose minerals. Soil depletion, as far as the quality of our soil, the quality of our food has just gone downhill over time. A lot of us are eating processed foods. There's glyphosate on all of our foods. And of course, that is going to make us absorbing essential minerals and nutrients a little bit harder. Chronic dieting, like I was saying, if you're somebody that has been eating 1,200, 1,100, 1,000 calories, I mean, even 14, 15, 1,600 calories, if you're an active woman, that's probably not enough for your body. And we see it all the time. We get the test results back and we see a 4 lows pattern, which essentially is just your body is depleted and burned out. Any sort of over-exercise, endurance training, again, like I was saying with the marathon example, you are just losing electrolytes. And if you're not replacing them, you're going to be really exhausted. Pharmaceutical drugs, hormonal birth control. If you have a history of hormonal birth control, you probably have some mineral issues, probably some vitamin deficiencies too. So really glad you're running this test. Any sort of chemical toxins, again, can just block that absorption of minerals. And then pregnancy and breastfeeding. And what I mean by that is if you think about what is required to grow a human and then feed that human, it requires a lot of energy, a lot of minerals, a lot of nutrients. So new moms, yeah, they're exhausted because they're caring for a tiny human, they're not sleeping, but also, that whole process of growing and birthing and feeding a baby, it's going to leave you super duper depleted. And again, we'll see that 4 lows pattern from women who just had babies or have had multiple babies. So if you've had a baby, multiple babies, this test is going to be really helpful. Times of heightened mineral depletion. So again, I've been talking around these. If you are stressed, high stress, if you've gone through a stressful period of life, or maybe you're that person that just operates at 100, like every day, all the time. Pregnancy, breastfeeding, chronic digestive issues. Again, you're not absorbing things properly. And again, if you're not absorbing your food properly, you're not able to get those minerals and the nutrients and vitamins and all the stuff that your body needs to work properly. If you have a history of disordered eating, anybody who's been chronically dieting, endurance and competitive athletes, again, like I was saying with the marathon example. And then if you've had any major illness or surgery, again, like anything big like that, it just takes a lot of energy and nutrients and minerals to recover. Okay, so how to get started supporting your minerals. And like I was saying, this is stuff you could start working on right now. Of course, when you get your test results, yeah, you're going to have more specific recommendations to what we saw on your test and that data. But this is stuff anybody can start. And while you're waiting for those test results, get going on these. The sooner you do this, the better you're going to feel. So really, there are 3 areas to support your minerals and your overall wellness. And it's nutrition, lifestyle, and supplements. And these are probably not a surprise. So let's dive into these. So when we talk about nutrition, we're really talking about mineral supportive nutrition. And what I mean by that is really like seeking out nutrient dense foods. You have maybe even heard it as called nutrient seeking or pro-metabolic eating. There's a lot of different names for this, but it's essentially just looking for foods that are really heavy hitters when it comes to minerals and nutrients and nourishing your body. And I think for a lot of ladies that are in perimenopause and menopause, we have come from this diet culture where it was always about eating less and the lowest calorie option was the best option. And I remember being at the gym and hearing these women brag about these 0-calorie noodles that they were eating. And I remember even back then being like, that doesn't make sense. Like you're not eating anything. Like, yeah, it's 0 calories, but what is that doing as far as like nourishing your body or giving it energy? So a lot of times, I think a lot of us think low calorie is the healthy option, but a lot of times it really is about what's the food that has the most nutrients, the most minerals, the most protein, the most fiber, that's really going to nourish my body. So when you're thinking about what to eat, think about the foods that are really, heavy hitters. So these are a few bullet points, things to consider, things that you could start to implement right away. So number one is just making sure you're eating enough. Like I was saying, if you're chronically under eating, that leaves a lot of room for improvement when it comes to nourishing your body. And if you add exercise, pregnancy on top of that, no wonder you're exhausted. No wonder you're having hormone issues. So this is just a rough calculation as far as figuring out what your maintenance calories might be. And over here at Carrots and Cake, we always give a range because as I always say, we're not robots. We don't eat the exact same number of calories every single day. That's also why we don't give, macro targets. We always give ranges because every day is going to be a little bit different, but you should have some sort of consistency in your diet to know what's working or not working. So this is just a general calculation that we use for our clients as a starting point, just to give them an idea of where they should be. So you take your body weight in pounds and then multiply it by 13, and that would be your low end of calories. And then multiply your body weight again times 17, and that would be kind of the higher end of calories. And so I did it for myself. I'm about 140 pounds. The low end would be about 1820. The high end would be 2380. And so the low end times 13, that would be somebody who's pretty sedentary. You really don't work out. You're not getting your 10,000 steps. You're sitting at a desk all day long. So that's kind of like the low end of maintenance. And I don't think I ever eat 1,800 calories. I would be so hungry. Maybe during a fat loss phase, I would be there. But the higher end would be somebody who works out frequently or regularly. I wouldn't even say frequently. Somebody who gets their 10,000 steps a day and somebody who's prioritizing muscle and wants to have a healthy metabolism. And yeah, 2380 is more where I am. As far as how many calories. But again, this is a range. This is kind of a general area for you to be when it comes to making sure you're consuming enough calories. And that's really important for nourishing your body. You have more opportunities to get minerals and nutrients and protein and all the good stuff into your body. And then, of course, number 2 here on my list is optimizing macronutrients for blood sugar and building muscle. So a couple things to note here, like making sure you're eating regular meals throughout the day. It's really important for keeping your blood sugar balanced. So not skipping meals, not eating a protein bar for lunch, like stuff like that, like regular meals throughout the day. Could be 3 meals a day, could be 4, you could even do 5 meals. Whatever works for you. Could be some snacks in there that are well-rounded. And of course, eating breakfast is really, really important, especially a high protein breakfast, because in theory, you have quote unquote fasted overnight. You stopped eating at dinner, you haven't eaten again till breakfast. So you want to break that fast, making sure you have enough protein, really important as far as helping with muscle growth, maintaining a healthy, balanced blood sugar, and then of course, eating regular meals throughout the day. So could be a great place to start if you're somebody that's kind of all over the place with your eating, is really focusing on well-rounded meals. I mean, we typically recommend 30 grams per meal, but of course it's going to depend on the person. And a lot of times we start people with 100 grams of protein per day, and then from there they can work their way up a little bit higher. But the first step is really getting that 100 grams of protein, starting there, starting small, getting consistent with that. Don't feel like you need to eat 150 grams of protein if you haven't been eating protein up until this point. So start slow, build the momentum, build the confidence. And then, of course, really prioritizing those nutrient-dense foods. When you get your results, you're going to get a whole list of those foods. I mean, you can also Google foods that are high in potassium, high in magnesium. And there are some guides that come with this test that will help you out as far as a few more food lists and things to focus on. And I'll give you a few more details right now. So nutrient-dense foods, what I mean by that specifically is that they have a lot of minerals. They're easily absorbable by the body. They support your adrenals, your thyroid, your liver, your gut function as far as the body goes. And these are some of the top sources, animal protein, organ meats. It's not to say vegetable proteins. Yeah, vegetable proteins or vegetarian proteins. Those are great too, but ideally you would be having some animal protein. They're just better absorbed by the body. They have way more minerals in them, and they're going to make you feel a whole lot better. Of course, seafood, shrimp, oyster, cod, loaded with minerals. All the seafood, shellfish, all of that. Starchy vegetables and fruit, as we say, fruits and roots. Anybody who is really struggling with fatigue, maybe you've been doing the low carb thing for a while, if you have thyroid issues, fruits and roots are your best friends. And I mean, that is really something to prioritize if you're somebody who exercises on the regular. Again, loaded with minerals, vitamins, nutrients. Cooked greens and beans, again, just easier to digest. I mean, if you like raw salads and raw veggies, go for it. But if you're somebody who has digestive issues, a lot of bloating, a lot of gas, discomfort, cook that stuff. You don't have to eat it raw. I did that for years and didn't realize how much the raw stuff was affecting my digestion. Bone broth, collagen, gelatin, amazing as far as amino acids, as far as building muscle, brain health, inflammation. Oh my gosh, so much great stuff in those. Dairy products, again, read the ingredients. I mean, there's a whole slew of good and bad dairy out there, but I would say fewer the ingredients, the better. If you want to go full fat, that could be really awesome, but kind of just depends on your goals. Again, just go back to reading the ingredients. You don't want cornstarch and weird sugars and stuff in there. You just want yogurt. Yogurt. Coconut is a heavy hitter when it comes to potassium. So good for thyroid function. I drink a crap ton of coconut water. I just love it. And it just loaded with potassium, which a lot of us need. I know not everybody likes coconut, but it's a really great functional food as far as minerals go. So anyways, the big takeaway here is the best way to support your minerals is through a mix of animal and plant foods. And really, you want to find a unique way of eating that works for you. And again, don't stress, don't overthink, but ideally you are focusing on a number of these foods to really nourish your body and support your mineral status. So one of the minerals that I like to start people with, and this is something we do with our clients right off the bat, because most of us don't get enough potassium. I think the daily recommendation is 4,600, 4,800 milligrams a day. It's really high. And there's a stat out there, 98% of Americans don't get that much. I mean, most people don't. I mean, you actually do have to kind of try to get that much potassium. But potassium, great way to support your thyroid, to support your energy levels. And when you're eating foods that are high in potassium, they're also high in other minerals. So I think it's a pretty big bang for your buck when you're searching out these foods. But I have had people say this is the only thing that they have done, and they start feeling better as far as just replenishing lost minerals. We see low potassium all the time. So anyways, these are just some favorite foods. Adrenal cocktail, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but it's a great source of potassium. Fruits and roots, like I was mentioning, meat and seafood, again, heavy hitters, dairy, beans, legumes, and then coconut water, aloe vera juice. I mean, some of my favorites. And then also potassium, it can help you lose weight, obviously supporting your metabolism. I have this little post here that actually we'll click through it and we'll go through it real quick. I was like, I don't know how long we're going to make this master class, but we'll go through it. Let's talk about these different ways potassium can help you lose weight. I feel like women don't really realize this. So, one, it can make you feel more satisfied. So there is a study out there that said women who consume more potassium eat 49% fewer calories, and it's only second to protein. So obviously we know if you get enough protein, you're going to feel more satisfied, but potassium was second to it. So that could be something if you're somebody that's like, I always feel like I'm starving, like look at your potassium intake. You can look on an app like MyFitnessPal, it will keep track of how much potassium you're consuming, Chronometer, there's a lot out there. So track your food for a day and see where you fall on the potassium front. You might be way below that recommendation. It has an effect on blood sugar and insulin. Potassium actually has insulin-like effects, helping to get blood sugar into the cells. And if glucose can't get into the cell, it hangs out in the blood and creates that high blood sugar. So really important for blood sugar balance. And when you get to perimenopause and menopause, we start to see a lot more insulin resistance and trouble losing weight. So just one way to help your cells work a little bit better. Potassium makes you more sensitive to thyroid hormone as far as the little receptors on the cell. So thyroid issues, I feel like they are rampant in women who are in their 40s and 50s and beyond, even in your 30s. And you might even be taking thyroid meds, but they can actually work better if the thyroid hormone is actually getting to the cell. So this is like one of the first things we recommend to our thyroid clients. Helps boost your energy, like I was saying, as far as an electrolyte. Sodium and potassium have a relationship, and most people get enough sodium in their diet, just processed food, salt, yada, yada, but not enough potassium. So simply getting enough potassium, you're going to start feeling better. You almost get that spark back. Helps build muscle, important as far as muscle contraction, again, goes back to exercise, making sure you're replenishing these nutrients. And of course, building muscle is going to burn more calories and boost your metabolism. So good for a lot of reasons. And then of course, it can prevent excess fluid retention. So like I was saying, if you feel like your fingers are always puffy, your ankles are always puffy, I'm always like, let's look at the minerals. What is going on there? Maybe you need more potassium in your life if you feel like that puffy and swollen feeling. Here's just a sample day. Like, I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't even know what to eat. I mean, of course, you can Google high potassium foods. I mean, I think they're probably a lot of our favorites. I just think bananas, avocados, coconut, chicken, orange juice, salmon, broccoli, beans, lentils, mango, some of the ones mentioned on here. But I mean, here's just a sample day of a way to really like load up your diet with high potassium foods. All right, so nutrition, really important as far as your minerals go, and then lifestyle. So again, when I mentioned stress, that's a big factor when it comes to your body losing minerals and having your minerals be quote unquote out of balance. So how you live every day is really important as far as how it's going to affect your mineral status. So if you are somebody who is just running around like their hair is on fire, these are just some signs that maybe you are addicted to stress. Maybe you have some cortisol issues going on. Basically, you are just flying 100 all the time, but you're somebody who wakes up and hits the ground running every single morning, like alarm goes off, you're up, you're doing all the things, taking care of the kids, taking care of yourself, making lunches, making breakfast, drinking your coffee, doing 100 things first thing in the morning. You don't even have a second to breathe. You're just trying to get everybody out the door. You always have a to-do list that's a mile long. You feel the need to do high intensity workouts. Like it doesn't count unless you're sweaty and breathless by the end. Like you love HIIT, you love Peloton, maybe you're an Orange Theory person, you like CrossFit. Nothing wrong with those workouts, but if that's like the only way you're working out, might be something to look at. You're relying on caffeine and coffee just to keep going throughout the day, or maybe even sugar. Sometimes you just need like quick hits of sugar and you're constantly having carb and sugar cravings. You're rushing through your meals, like you never sit down, you're eating them in the car, you're standing at the kitchen counter. Calling myself out a little bit on that. You do lots of multitasking. You're never doing one thing at a time. It's always 6 things at once. You're constantly checking your phone or your email. You're resistant to rest and relaxation, and maybe you think it's a waste of time. Again, calling myself out. I couldn't even sit on the couch for 5 minutes without feeling like I needed to do something. I was just so amped up, and burned out at the same time. So that's a fun combo. And then you're just obsessed with health and researching and just always finding the right way. A lot of your perfectionism tendencies are coming through when it comes to that, because I was the same person. I was like, what is the right way to do this? If I'm doing it wrong, it's a waste of time. So again, if you're somebody that's just always searching, I'm hoping this masterclass is going to help you to slow down and take an assessment of your life as far as, how you were living, like almost take an inventory of how you were living. So we call this the day in the life stress assessment, because I feel like a lot of women don't even realize how stressed out they are. They're just kind of used to living this way. They're used to chronic stress. They're almost like thriving on the high cortisol. And I have been there until I wasn't there and I was really burned out and I couldn't do anything. So it's always a high before you crash. But anyways, these are some things just to ask yourself. I mean, it could be like a journaling exercise. I mean, even just going on like a walk by yourself and kind of thinking through these things. I think it's really important to be aware and honest with yourself. And personally, again, calling myself out, I was full of shit for a while. Like I kept blowing off stuff. I'm like, I'm not that stressed. My periods aren't that bad. It's fine. I'll just deal with it, until all of my symptoms got so bad that I couldn't ignore them anymore. And I really was, like I said, kind of full of shit. Not saying that to anybody watching this, calling myself out here, but it took a lot of awareness and honesty with myself to really look at my life, because I understand, like, you have a full-time job, you have kids, you have goals, like you want to meal prep, you want to exercise, you are that like high achiever type women, like you want to do everything right. And that was me for a long time. And I was just kind of used to operating that way, until I got to the point where like things were just so bad that something needed to change. And it's not like I could just quit carrots and cake and go to a tropical island and leave my family and go to a spa for a week. Like obviously I had responsibilities. I couldn't just like ditch my life and start a new one. So it took time. It was slow changes over time. It was doing one thing different every single day and really starting to do something for myself and prioritizing myself, even if it was like 10 minutes a day, like the littlest thing. I was like, I'm going to go upstairs and take a shower and nobody talk to me. It was like literally the smallest things, but really almost like reverse engineering my current life in a way that I could find ways to really prioritize my health and reduce the stress. So just some questions to ask you. And again, I have been there. I understand it is really hard to quote unquote manage stress. And when you tell somebody who is super duper stressed out to manage stress, it's the most annoying thing to hear. And that was me. It just felt like such a roadblock for years and years. I was like, I don't know how to manage stress. I don't know how to change my life. And slowly over time, I mean, it's been many years now, I'm in a much better place where I don't feel like I'm flying around with my hair on fire every single day. Like I do feel like a little bit more balanced most days. And I think that's a good place to be. But anyway, some questions to consider. What does a typical day look like for you? What do you do when you wake up in the morning? Is there any sort of intention? Is there any sort of calm before the storm hits of the day? Do you feel like you're always rushing? Do you always feel like you're overwhelmed or short-tempered, like you're noticing a lot more snapping at your husband or your kids, or more road rage? You get like a really annoyed when you're driving somewhere. I noticed that. Are you waking up extra early or staying up super duper late because you just feel like you don't have time for yourself? Are you exposed to a lot of blue light in the evening? Is that maybe wrecking your sleep so you're not having restless sleep? Are you drinking too much alcohol? Is that messing with your blood sugar and your sleep? Do you get any sunlight during the day? Are you inside all the time? I mean, sunlight is huge. Sunlight in nature, which I know is also annoying to hear sometimes because I was that person as well. Okay, so let's talk about the adrenal cocktail. So this is something you can absolutely try. This got very popular on social media, and I personally felt better drinking these, and I pretty much drink them every single day still. And this is something you don't have to do, but I feel like if you are somebody who is really dragging, you are super duper stressed, you're feeling like a little burned out, you're feeling fatigued, frequently throughout the day, this could be a way to give you a little boost, because vitamin C can actually be like a little stimulated. It can give you some energy. And vitamin C, orange juice, as far as the adrenal cocktail goes, loaded with vitamin C. And when we're stressed out, we're going to lose vitamin C. It's also really nourishing for the adrenal glands. So vitamin C, great choice as far as like nourishing your body goes. And then coconut water. Love coconut water. Again, not everybody likes coconut water, but again, loaded with potassium. And when these work together, it can really help as far as your adrenal function goes and just feeling so much better. And then salt, which is an electrolyte. It is so important for energy production, adrenal function, all of that good stuff. But basically, the combination, I mean, you can't mess this up. I know a lot of people are like, I got to do it right. I have to have the right combination. But it's, half orange juice, half coconut water, throw some salt in there. There's a million recipes on the internet. There's so many ways that you can do this. Don't stress. If you really like orange juice and don't really like coconut water, do more orange juice than coconut water. If you don't really like orange juice and you really like coconut water, use more coconut water and less OJ. Like, you can't screw this up for real. And, you can always start slow with this. I think recipes are like a cup of each. Sometimes it's a half a cup of each. You could start with a quarter cup of each and just see how you feel. I mean, you don't have to do this the exact way that you see as far as a recipe goes online. Feel it out, feel how, it makes you feel. But basically, anytime you are feeling kind of low energy, you need a little boost. It could be like a mid-morning thing. It could be an afternoon thing where you need like a little pick-me-up. Adrenal cocktail is a great way to do it. And then, so I hear this a lot from people, and I actually had a client who refused to drink adrenal cocktails because juice had too much sugar in it, and she was just programmed, you know what I mean, from the diet culture days, and she did not want to eat juice or drink juice, which is fine. You can absolutely eat fruit. There's lots of options to get your vitamin C in, lots of options to get your potassium in, so you can totally get what you need from food. You don't have to drink an adrenal cocktail. But if you're somebody who has insulin resistance, blood sugar issues, yeah, adrenal cocktail might not be the best as far as, drinking adrenal cocktail on an empty stomach or something like that. So these are a few options for you. And again, this is something you can make it your own. You are not going to screw it up, do what you want. But you could do coconut water mixed with lemon or lime. You could do cranberry juice. You can do pomegranate juice. There's so many options, and just like a little bit of sea salt. If you're worried about those blood sugar spikes, you can mix the adrenal cocktail with some whey protein or some collagen, or aloe vera juice or something like that, coconut cream. There's so many options to kind of slow down that blood sugar spike. When it comes to adding protein or adding fat, you could do MCT oils. There's so many options. There's also adrenal cocktail mixes out there, like like Jigsaw as a brand, where it's just a powder, so it doesn't have like a ton of sugar in it. You could consume an adrenal cocktail before your workout, during your workout, after your workout. I'm a big fan of the adrenal cocktail protein shake that I'll drink during my workout and after my workout, because when you are exercising, you are using that glucose, from the adrenal cocktail. So that could be great. You could do less OJ, more coconut water, or you could do trace mineral drops. I mean, put those in there. There's no sugar in that. That's a great way to get electrolytes. If you're somebody who has histamine issues, again, pomegranate juice, cranberry juice, lemon, lime. You can also try aloe vera juice. It does have a lot of potassium in it, but again, read the ingredients. Sometimes like they have like a lot of sugars and like weird stuff in there. But anyways, so many options as far as the traditional adrenal cocktail as a way to really give you that boost and support your adrenals and your electrolytes. And then I get this question a lot too. Do I need to drink adrenal cocktails? No, you absolutely don't. This is your journey. If you drink an adrenal cocktail and it doesn't do anything, or it makes you feel worse, don't keep doing it. You don't have to do it. Like I mentioned before, you can get your minerals from food. I mean, avocado, great source of potassium. A little feta cheese, got some sodium in there, some calcium in there. I mean, there's so many options for getting your minerals in. So don't feel bad if they don't work for you. For some people, it's a game changer. Other people, they're like, I don't feel better, or it makes me feel worse, which is also a problem for people. Like I was saying with histamine stuff, orange juice, it is kind of high in histamines. You actually might feel worse. So anyways, just focus on those high potassium foods, get vitamin C from fruit or other sources. Broccoli's got vitamin C. And again, try different recipes out. Like you don't have to do orange juice and coconut water. I've personally been into a pomegranate, lemon, coconut water lately, but there's so many options out there. And then supplements, this is kind of like the third pillar as far as what to focus on when it comes to minerals: nutrition, lifestyle, and supplementation. And this is the only supplement that I kind of generally recommend. Magnesium is a really important mineral. Pretty much everybody needs more magnesium. A lot of us are losing it. It's involved in thousands of processes in the body. And if you're somebody, who exercises and you're losing minerals, this could be a really good option. Or if you have GI issues, this could also be a good option as far as absorption goes. But this is the only supplement that I recommend to everyone. When you get your test results, you might have some supplement recommendations on there. They're always optional. Again, you can get a lot of minerals from food, so you don't even have to buy the supplements. It just, the supplements can supplement what you are doing with your nutrition and your lifestyle changes. And yeah, this is convenient. It can make it easier for you. You can get there quicker as far as your results go. So I love this topical magnesium. I think it's just a great way to get some extra magnesium in, and you use it like regular lotion. So you can put it on your legs or your arms or wherever. You get out of the shower, you put it on, so it can be part of your routine. But this is just an easy way to get magnesium in. And I'll make sure I include this with all the resources that you get. So if you want to try it out, you could also, supplement orally. I like magnesium glycinate. I mean, there's different types of magnesium. So again, once you get your test results, you might have a different form of magnesium on there that might work better for you depending on your symptoms and what you're dealing with. But magnesium is a great place to start as far as supplementation goes. I feel like everybody needs it. And there's a note here that, taking too much magnesium without enough sodium and potassium can actually lower levels. So make sure you're getting your potassium and your sodium in. So all those high potassium foods we were talking about, and then just making sure you're salting your food, salting your eggs in the morning, salting your broccoli, putting salt in your adrenal cocktail, it all adds up. You can also try Epsom salt baths or even foot baths. I was talking about this with a client where, yes, I would love to take an Epsom salt bath every single night, but I don't have time for that. I don't have time to sit in a bath most nights, but you can do it with a foot bath and, just like a small little, container, put your feet in there. It's like a nice little way to get a little extra magnesium and slow you down so you can kind of chill. And then of course, there's foods that are high in magnesium too. I mean, chocolate's one. Anyways, this is a great product and a lot of our clients really like it. And then finally, just a quick note, just to sum up here, this mineral balancing stuff, it takes time. And I mean, a lot of you are coming to mineral balancing after many years, even decades of habits that just haven't served you, or maybe you haven't treated your body well. So, a lot of these changes as far as your health and wellness go, they're not going to happen overnight. And this mineral balancing stuff can take years to really balance out. But I can absolutely guarantee you, if you start prioritizing whole foods, nutrient-dense foods, get in some adrenal cocktails, start looking at how you live your life and the level of stress in your life every day, you will start feeling better. I mean, we have clients like 3 or 4 months, they're like, dang, I'm feeling so much better, so much more energy. And I feel like just seeing those symptoms improve as far as just like your energy and your mental health and just your mood, those are great signs that your mineral balancing is working. So anyways, just a few notes as far as, focus on small intentional steps. So like do 1 or 2 things at a time. Like you don't need to take on everything that I mentioned in this masterclass. Like pick 1 or 2 that you think you can start to implement right now, and start getting consistent with them. Like make it part of your lifestyle. So maybe it's on Sunday when you're meal planning, you pick 5 high potassium foods to add to your grocery list. And then throughout the week, you add them to your diet. Or, maybe it is you buy the magnesium lotion and you start using that after your shower every day. So like pick 1 or 2 things that you can implement and get consistent with that before you add something else. Because if you add 10 different things all at once, you don't really know what is quote unquote working. And then also it's kind of overwhelming to do all of these things. And then you forget to do things and then you feel bad about yourself. And I'd rather have you do less better and start showing up for yourself with confidence and really developing that momentum and start enjoying this journey. I think a lot of times when we think about getting healthy and losing weight, we think it needs to be miserable and it needs to be hard. And the harder and more hardcore it is, the more likely it's going to work. And I think honestly, if you go into it and you're like, this is a process, I'm going to find joy in this journey, and you start celebrating yourself for each step of this, I think you're just going to get much better results. So go into this being like, this is going to be fun. I'm going to nourish my body. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to take my stress level down a notch and really start prioritizing myself, even if it is 10 minutes a day. And again, be kind to yourself. Practice patience and grace with yourself. Again, I think a lot of ladies are really hard on themselves. They want to do it perfectly. And if they don't, there's a lot of guilt and shame. And honestly, I would love for you to go into this with a very kind approach to how you are doing this and how you are improving your health and, nourishing your body. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this masterclass. We do have a private Facebook community called the Carrots and Cake Community. If you're not yet a member, please join. I'll make sure I include that link as well. But if you have any questions, you have any follow-ups that you want to talk about as far as something I said, or you want advice or ideas or something like that, definitely post it in the group. I'm in there daily. My coaches are in there a few times a week, and there's an incredible community of women who are also working on this mineral balancing stuff and just getting healthy and being their best selves. So it's a great place to connect. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you found it helpful.